Hey, Dallas. How are you today? How many of you are struggling through this homeschooling process like I am? Some days we think we've got it, other days we know we do not. And how many of you guys are dealing in addition with ADHD inside your homes? Again, like I am. It's been a struggle. It's one of the many struggles that we're all dealing with at this time. And so, what better time than to bring on our lovely guest today, Hilary Stern. How are you?
I'm good.
Hilary is with ADHD Advance. She is a coach who specializes in ADHD, and she's going to help us get some tips and tools and figure out what we can do to better this process. Hilary, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. This is crazy what we've been thrown into. So.
Oh my goodness. And I'm telling you, like, I need you. I was like last night walking with Ryan and my son, and literally we're fighting a lot right now because it's like this fight to, did you get it done? Why do you keep asking me that? So I can't imagine I'm the only parent right now in this abnormal relationship with child. So thank you for being here. And I can't wait to hear some tips and tricks that we can bring to our homes. Managing ADHD can be challenging both at school and at home. How does that compound in the current state that we're all in?
So I want to clarify one thing. We're not homeschooling.
Okay.
Which takes some weight off of our shoulders, right? We're actually not homeschooling. We are the parents who are managing distant learning. We're managing school at home. Okay. So we've got a weight lifted off. So I want to clarify that. There are some pros and cons to this. Obviously, this was not something I had researched before because it's never happened before. There are some pros and cons to this situation. And so I'm going to kind of talk on both sides. First, I'm going to explain that the pros. I'm going to talk about some positives that we're dealing with. I mean, I have kids in my house with ADHD. I have ADHD. I have 4 kids. And I have been a classroom teacher for many years before in my past life. So, but I'm still not their teacher, and I'm not pretending to be, and I'm not trying to be. So what I see that has been great is that my kids have the opportunity to pick and choose where they want to do their classes. They can move around. They can go on the couch if they need to. They can go into another room. I definitely set guidelines like you're going to start, if you start a class here, we're not taking the computer and moving around throughout the entire class. So, but it's good to kind of be able to shift and to be able to lay down on the couch or lean back. I think that is huge, especially for our kids with ADHD. Believe it or not, it is helping with impulse control. Granted, we as the parents are seeing a lot of impulsivity because we're seeing exactly what you were describing, the quick reactions to us as parents. However, because a lot of our kids are on Zoom, the teachers are able to mute them. So they cannot shout out. And they cannot be impulsive and interrupt the teacher. They might be shouting out, and you might hear them as the parent, or someone whoever's home might hear them. However, they're not interrupting the teacher, and they have to wait their turn. So it's helping with impulsivity. It can be frustrating for the students, and I've seen that with my own kids. One in particular who needs to say it when he needs to say it, right? And so I've seen that, but I also see after he has that immediate reaction and the teacher doesn't call on him right away and the teacher doesn't even notice he's reacting that way, I see he takes the deep breath and can calm down once the teacher does acknowledge that he has a question. So it helps with the impulsivity. It allows them to move around. One of my kids said last week, I'm going to the bathroom less during class. And
Imagine that.
He started laughing. But it's true. Because of these things, they are able to they don't have to get up and leave class as much. So even though with our school, the teachers have condensed the classes into 30 minutes, they really might be getting some more content. Our ADHD kiddos might be getting some more information because they aren't leaving the classroom as much as they typically do. So those are some pros. There are some hard things that we're dealing with. We're following a schedule. First of all, they've had to learn a whole new schedule, which is big. So they're following a new schedule that they've never learned before. And the structure is usually created by the school and implemented into the school day. So now here we are as parents this is not our background, most of us. And these kids are getting this new schedule and we're having to help them manage, which is what their teachers normally do in August, September, October, right? So it's that part is tricky. Separating the being at home and being at school time, that gets very blurry. So a child might want to start arguing, start telling you what their teacher is doing wrong, or telling you what's going on with another student if they're in a small group on a Zoom call, when normally at school you're not there to hear any of that or deal with it. So I would recommend, and I'll talk about recommendations soon, but I would recommend saying, you know what, you're at school now. Deal with it. We will talk about it after school. So we still need to help them separate that because it's very hard. That's very blurred. And time blindness is something that those of us with ADHD have. We have a very hard time. We don't understand time. We might think something takes 5 minutes and it really takes 20. We might think something takes 30 minutes and it really takes 5. So I always have my little timer, and I talk about that a lot. And I've been timing even what we're doing now because of my time blindness. So we need to work with our kids on time management and dealing with the time blindness. And so I think that in forward thinking, the lack of the ability to forward think and think for tomorrow and plan for tomorrow. So those are kind of some pros and cons. So in addition to other things that I'm sure pop up, but those are the top.
Yeah, lots of little things. So
yes.
Can you give us some methods that parents can use to help this management that we are in charge of right now?
That we're thrown into right now. Not being a homeschool teacher, but managing the school at home. So yes, I think that it's very important that you work with each child individually. I have 4 of them. And so it's been a lot. It took a lot of kind of sit down time at first with each one of them to kind of think through their day, think through what their schedule is going to look like, and help them map it out. Some schools have organized most of that school day for you. Some schools have Monday and Wednesday are a certain way and Tuesday and Thursday are a certain way, etc. Some schools, believe it or not, are just saying, here are a bunch of assignments, have them to me by the end of the day or by the end of the week.
Yes.
And that can be really, really tricky. So you need to sit down with your child to develop a schedule that will work for them. I would not put anything in more than 30-minute increments for even a middle schooler or a high schooler than to have a 10 to 15 minute break. Our school actually has pretty much mapped it out that way, which has been great. They have like 10-minute breaks between their classes. And you also want to, at the same time, sit down with them and talk to them about what they can do to kind of release some of that energy when it is break time. Another benefit is that like our basketball hoop is right outside. So when my kids have their 10-minute break, they are out there shooting hoops. Or, they go right outside unless it's raining, unfortunately, but they're doing some sort of movement because movement is key. Movement is a natural dopamine releaser. It naturally gets us motivated and focused. Even when the child is on medication, they need that exercise to add to that, to kind of ignite that part of the brain that's going to get them to sit back down and do their work. You may or may not know this, but most teachers have brain breaks throughout their class. Even through a 45-minute or an hour class, they're stopping and they're doing something with movement during that class, no matter what age your child is. So I think that the forward thinking is very challenging, as I mentioned, for someone with ADHD. So it's important that the night before you do, Carrie, you are doing the right thing by checking in, with your son, because here's the deal. One of the things that I've said to my kids is, I know this is annoying when I do these check-ins with you. However, you're not at school, so your teachers can't do this. So it is my job as your parent to just make sure you're staying on track. I'm not going to micromanage it. You're responsible for turning in your assignments. My 5th and 6th graders, my 1st grader, I turn in his stuff and that whole thing. But for my middle schoolers, they are responsible for that. But I do touch base with them, and it takes 2 to 3 minutes in the afternoon or evening. Have you set up for tomorrow? Have you looked at Schoology to see if anything else has come up? What do you need to do? Sometimes I might go down the whole list of the schedule and say, what do you have in this class? What do you have in this class? What do you have in this class? So, and they, at first were getting so annoyed. Now they just know if they answer me and we can respond, then it's a 2-minute conversation. And they've been pretty good about getting their stuff done. And both of them, struggle with some of these ADHD symptoms. So, the biggest thing I think is that we need to know as parents is that we need to balance all of this with flexibility and patience. We are not there to micromanage. We're not there. They have 504 plans. Some of these kids, they have plans at school. We're not there all day to help to make sure that they're going on, but hopefully they're being utilized. So we need to make sure that we're giving them that freedom to be able to get up and pace if they need to, or to take a break when that person in the class is really being annoying, and to just take your picture off of the screen and put your name there and take a few deep breaths and then go back to the class. Because we have to be flexible, just like we expect our teachers to be flexible with our kids with ADHD. So do we. We're not here for perfection. Nobody, all the kids in all the world right now are they're gonna move ahead a little, but they're gonna learn a lot. They're learning a lot of life skills right now. But they're gonna play a little catch up next year.
We're gonna miss some things for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess, you're right. It's not the end of the world. So, okay, I know this is gonna be a hard question because you just said it. And I have lots of kids and each one's at a different school, and you're exactly right. It's every single one is totally different. But can you give us a little sample schedule or something that we could, maybe look at and then tailor it to our own needs?
I can. So, can you see? You can't really see what's back there, can you?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, what I did, as I explained to you, is that I had each one of my kids work on a schedule even before we got the schedule from the school, to kind of think about what their day would look like. And my younger kids, I sat down with them and did it. And my older kids, they kind of went and took it and did it on their own. Because not obviously, but we've done this kind of thing in my house before, just because, I try this kind of stuff out with them all the time. So I'm going to give you an example. Sorry.
You're fine. It's perfect.
This is an example of what one of my older kids did. Okay.
Cool.
I don't know
if we can. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So he did it, and he kind of thought through what he needed to do when he woke up in the morning and wrote it there. Get dressed, brush teeth, feed he didn't write feed the dog, but he should have. Free time exercise. So we usually take a morning walk. This has turned into a morning walk that we take every morning. And when we don't, I see a huge difference with our family. 9 to 12, school. So he knew that the teachers were going to be giving him some stuff, but he also didn't know exactly what it was. So for him, he just kind of wrote that in. He's a middle schooler again. He takes breaks. And even on the side, he wrote, breaks in between classes, snacks are allowed. You don't have to follow things exactly. A lot of times when we're dealing with kids with ADHD, they want to make sure that if they break it, if they don't do it exactly, it's going to be okay. So that's something I deal with a lot. This doesn't mean we have to do this in this exact order. This doesn't mean it has to go exactly this way, right? So we can be flexible. 1 to 3, school again, and then 4 o'clock, rest, 5 o'clock, he's done with school, and between 9 and 10, he goes to bed. So this is a loose schedule. There's a lot of exercise. I separate the school week and the weekend by not allowing, just like during the school year, not allowing the Xbox as much during the week, maybe sometimes throwing it in there a little. My younger kids, this is actually my preschooler. We created one, and I did pictures, and she matched the pictures up with what it was. So she's in pre-K. Wake up, walk, which is what we do. This is something we do at our school. We dive in. So, and then choices, and I kind of leave out some art supplies or whatever, and she can work on some stuff. 10:30, she has a Zoom with her class. Then a brain break and play. And so we do Go Noodle is a great website to have that has different ideas of brain breaks. Power Kids has been posting some great stuff. Read with mommy. But she's got to understand, especially our younger ones, have to understand there's mommy time. In fact, our older ones do too. They need mommy time in a major way. And then lunch and play. And then after at 1 o'clock, play, science and art. So we'll come up with a science or an art activity. We don't follow this every day, but she wants to know that she has structure to her day just like her brothers do. And she will go and point, say, mommy, it's choice time. Even if it's not the right time, it just kind of helps her see that there's structure to her day.
It's a guideline.
I do want to say one other thing that I have felt that is it's very hard to read, but I want to explain kind of what I've done here. It's hard to read because it's one of my son's school schedules. I just want to show you that I take a dry erase board, and I do this with all of my clients, and I divide what the class is right here, and here they have to write whatever their assignment is, and they check it off when they've done it, or they erase it when they've done it. So they are writing in what they have, a vocab test on Tuesday. They need to read these certain chapters. They're writing that down. One of my sons prefers to do it on a piece of paper or a Post-it and put it up there. The other one likes to write it on here. Again, flexibility, whatever works for that child. But that has been very helpful for them to make sure they have everything done.
Where were you a couple of weeks ago when I went to this?
And guess what? Like my great friend Summer Paylett always says, there's always time for do-overs. And thanks to Summer, I use that a lot because we are dealing with emotions too. We're not only dealing with structure, we're dealing with impulsivity and emotions, and we need to take deep breaths, and we need to start over and have do-overs because there are going to be emotional breakdowns. So, I mean, I have, there's so much more. I just want to share one other thing. This book I got called What Were You Thinking? It teaches about impulsivity. It's a story about learning to control your impulses. And my kids know the word impulse. My little ones and my big ones know the word impulse and understand what it means to be impulsive. And we talk about what our body feels like when we feel like we're getting really angry and we're going to respond in an impulsive way. And in this book, it talks about 4 things. Stop what you're doing. Think about what you're going to say. Decide if it will make the situation better or worse. Choose the behavior that makes the situation better. And this can be applied to anyone of any age. And I think it's really important that we use this language with our kids, no matter what age they are. The child in the book is in 3rd grade, but it really applies to all age kids. And he's kind of a class clown. So it's really, but the teachers are cute, they work with him, and he, realizes that if he does these things, he'll still be liked and he'll still, do all right. Whoops. So.
That's genius.
It's, simple things, little nuggets,
Little nuggets. Yeah, it's so interesting. And each child is so different. But,
Yes.
The thing to add to all of this is that parents, and, I don't even want to say especially working parents, because every person, every parent has their own stresses. There's a lot of financial stresses on families right now. There's a lot of additional work stresses. So parents have their own stuff going on and their own fear, and it combines with all of this home school management, online school management. Can you offer some advice to the parents on how to manage some of the additional stress that we might be feeling here?
Yes. I think that it's really important that you take time for yourself. And I have to remind myself of this constantly. Sometimes I will just take a walk, like a much needed walk around the block. And actually, if I have a child who's having a moment, I will say, hey, guys, we'll be right back. Because I do have older kids who can, I have someone who can be there to watch them. And I say, let's go. We're going to walk around the block. And it always helps to calm both me and the child down, allows us to have a conversation about what's going on if we need to, or talk about something else. So take those walks. We social distance walks around the neighborhood. And I've started to learn a lot about mindfulness and what it truly means. I think this time has taught me a lot about being present. It's taught a lot of us about being present. And I think that going to and learning from Lauren, from your beautiful sister, Lauren Margulies, about mindfulness and about meditation and yoga, or my good friends, Dr. Stephanie and Elisha Goldstein, have the Center for Mindful Living that is amazing. They offer a lot of great resources online to allow us to just take time for ourselves. I was telling you the other day, Carrie, that I've done some yoga in my bathroom. My bathroom is the one place where I can, it's got the same kind of floor that they have in the yoga studio. So I'll pretend I'm kind of in the yoga studio and I'll follow a class online. But it's really important that you have time and that you make time for yourself and for your spouse. I mean, for the two of you, if you have someone else at home. And if you're home, a single parent, it's important. I've had a few girls' nights with friends on Zoom, that kind of stuff. So I think that it's important. It's really tricky. It's a tricky time. And we've got some, complex kiddos living in our houses, all of us, whether they have an ADHD diagnosis or not. And we want to all stay sane so that we can be the best parents we can be and be the best person we can be, or best people we can be.
Yeah. I think, part of the problem too is that we don't really know when this is going to end. So we got into the situation. It seemed like it came out of nowhere. It was very fast moving. Then, all of a sudden we're in our houses, and now we're kind of going, well, we don't know how long this new normal is going to last. So you do have to kind of make a new life with it. As long as it's here, it's here. And so I like that. Yoga in the bathroom. Just find your own space, even if it's a bathroom. That's great. Yoga in the closet.
Yeah. And I do want to say, you made a comment, that we don't really know when what's happened. We don't fully know exactly when this is going to end. And we all have, wishful thinking about different times. And our kiddos with ADHD, they like predictability. So if we can try to make life as predictable as possible in this situation, then that can be really helpful to them.
I know you're offering coaching programs and various other ways that people can connect with you, learn more, and be guided by your genius. Can you let everybody know how they can connect with you and what you're offering, please?
Yes. So you can always email me at Hilary, that's one L, HILARY, at ADHDadvance.com, ADVANCE. That's all one word, ADHDadvance.com. You can check out my website at www.adhdadvance.com. And I'm working on some, and I see clients. I'm seeing my clients still this way regularly, and I even add a little more, and I check in with them more often because of just genuine concern and just to help keep them on track because their teachers aren't with them. I also meet with some young adults, some adults, parents. I coach parents, I coach teachers, I do consulting, I do professional development for schools and for teachers, and for parents on ADHD. I'm working on a couple of other projects, and if you email me, you go onto my website and kind of opt in as one of my people, then I will keep you posted as to when these projects get published and when we really go out there with them. So some more education pieces and some more ways to connect. But you can always connect with me. We can do a 20-minute talk to see if we should continue and work together. One final thing is I've created a Facebook page for everyone to join. Managing school at home with ADHD kids is what it's called. You can always friend me on Facebook and write a little note saying you want or DM me and write a little note saying you want to join the group, and I'll connect you that way, or email me if you can't find it, and we can get you hooked up. So we're all discussing it. We're all learning together. I don't pretend to know everything. I just want to help whoever I can.
And it's such needed help. Thank you so much for giving of yourself and continuing to allow people to connect with you when you've got so much on your plate. It is such a great resource for us. I will be reaching out to you myself. So again, thank you for being with us today. You're always a wealth of knowledge. Dallas, I hope that you learned something. I know you just learned something. Thank you for tuning in. Go back and rewatch it. There's a lot of good nuggets in what we just covered. So Hilary, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much,
and
Carrie.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Good luck.